You have been there. The group chat pops off, somebody's birthday, a trip, a dinner at a restaurant where the entrees start at $100. And everyone is hyped, the plans are being made, and you are now sitting there doing the math in your head. Is this even sustainable for me? Do I really have the means to attend this person's birthday or to do this trip or do this thing? Quietly by yourself, you're not really feeling it. Because saying I can't afford that feels like more than just a money statement. It feels like an admission, like you are behind. Like you are the only one who is not where everyone else seems to be. So you go, you swipe, you smile, and you deal with it later. Or you do not go and you make up an excuse and you spend the night feeling guilty about lying while also relieved that you did not blow your budget. So neither one of those feels good, and there is a better way. So welcome to Master Your Fin Life. I am Lex Victoria. Today we're talking about loud budgeting, what it is, why it is hard in communities like ours specifically, and why it might be the most important shift you make in how you navigate money in relationships. So let's get into it. So let me start with what loud budgeting actually means. Loud budgeting is the practice of being open and unapologetic about your financial boundaries. Instead of making up an excuse for why you cannot do something, you say the real reason. I am not spending money on that right now. That does not fit my budget. I am working toward a financial goal, and that is not part of the plan. Anyone who knows me knows that I am the first to come out and be like, I'm not spending money on that. Like, y'all can go without me. Like, one of my friends posted in our group chat, like, are we going to the Chris Brown and Usher concert? And I was like, can I opt out? Like, certain things that I'm not passionate about or that I don't want to spend money on, best believe I'm not. And many people will call me the cheap friend, not the broke friend, but the cheap friend. I'm the cheap friend because whenever somebody drops something into the chat, I'm automatically going to ask, how much is the ticket? How much is the ticket? How are we doing this? Are we doing VIP? Are we doing general admission? Are we getting a table? Like, how do y'all see this planning out? Because for me, it's important to get that all clear off the rip. Just because you drop something with a fire reel and clickbait doesn't mean I'm absolutely signing on to going. Because as entrepreneurs, my income is not fixed all the time. You know what I'm saying? So certain months I'm going to have a lot more than other months I'm going to be super low, right? Seasonality is a thing. So when we're planning these things out, I need to make sure that not only my family's good, I'm good, but then also that I make sure that I'm accomplishing whatever goals that I intend on having for myself. So allow budgeting went viral as a concept in early 2024, but the idea is not something new. What is new is the framing of how it came out. So the idea that saying no because of money is not something to hide or be embarrassed about. It is something to say directly without the performance, without the excuses, without the guilt, without the gaslighting. Loud budgeting is the opposite of quiet suffering. So instead of me suffering in silence because I don't want to come to you as a friend to say I'm not going to this or I'm not going to be able to attend, like I literally missed out on my friend's engagement because I just did not have the funds at that time. I just became a mother and I was on short-term disability and FMLA, but then that ran out. That was only like 6 weeks. So I decided to take more time with my child. And in making that decision drastically impacted the money that I had coming into the household. So no, I did not have money for my friend's engagement, and I never even had this conversation with her either, now that I think about it, because she was so in awe and I didn't want my excuse for not going to be the center around her day. You know what I'm saying? Like no one wants to text me, oh, I can't go or I can't, I'm sorry. I just left it as is. And that was a big moment for me because I felt like I was letting my friend down, right? But the ticket was one price. I didn't have a car and I had my son. I had nobody to watch my son on that specific day. So that means I would have to bring my son. And even though that my son at that time, he was a baby, so he wouldn't have been like a plate or a meal or anything. But I'm also not taking the train to Brooklyn, right, with my son. So I was like, now I got to pay an Uber to get there. And all of the instances just did not align with me being able to attend this event. So again, instead of suffering in silence, right, and going through all of those things, I specifically just said, hey, I won't be able to attend. As crazy as that sound, as a big a moment it was, it just did not align for where I was financially. Loud budgeting, it is the opposite of swiping a card. You should not swipe because you did not want to have the conversation, right? Like I was not afraid to have the conversation because it really just did not align with where I was. It is the opposite of lying about why you cannot make it. Like I'm not saying, oh, I'm not going because of my son or I'm not going because of this. Like I just cannot go. It's just not within my budget to go. But if you grew up the way a lot of us grew up, saying your budget out loud is like one of the hardest things that you can do. And that is exactly what I want to talk about today, to try to normalize that conversation, because I've actually become really confident and comfortable with it in a scary way. Here's the part that nobody talks about when they post about loud budgeting. For a lot of people, especially people from communities like ours, money is not just a practical topic. It is a loaded, heavy, emotional topic of conversation. And it really is connected to survival, like to status, to what your family sacrificed to be where they are today. And so what you are supposed to have figured out by now, whether you're a first, second, third generation, like you should have been able to establish something with your sense of privilege. And everybody has a sense of privilege. And I'm not talking about, like, you could take this conversation and run with it in another direction, but like I have a privilege because my mom suffered. Even though I grew up in the Bronx and I grew up this, I had a privilege where I had the ability to go to college. I had the ability to choose where I wanted to go to college. I had the privilege of financial aid to be able to help me through those things. So although those were mechanisms to help people in need, I had a privilege because I had access to those resources. It is connected to the unspoken pressure to look like you are doing okay, even when you're not. And again, I'm talking about the topic of money. Even when the rent is tight and the card is close to the limit and you're stretching every dollar as far as it will go, and our community's appearance matters. Not because we're shallow, but because looking like you are struggling can feel super dangerous, right? Like growing up, my great grandmother would always say you have to look good to go to the doctor. And that theory, I always felt like her theory came from like you have to look good when you're going to the doctor so that they don't treat you no type of way. So that they can provide the best level of care because they make their first biases when you walk through the door, when you walk into that operation room, when you walk into that doctor's office. How they perceive you is going to equate to the care that you receive. So always look good when you're going to the doctor, even when you feel like shit. It can invite judgment. It can change how people see you, and it can feel like confirmation of something you have been fighting against your whole life. Tight-knit communities and families where everyone shows up for everyone, saying no to something social can feel like abandonment. And sometimes you just don't want to hear somebody's mouth. Like, bro, I'm going to just go because I don't want to hear her mouth because I already know if she's going to take it the wrong way. You're pulling away like you think you're better than, like you do not want to be around the people who matter to you. Oh my gosh, boy. I got this so many times, especially once I started embarking on entrepreneurship. So many people would stop inviting me places because I was saying no, or I was a new mom. People are pulling away from you. And I chose not to respond. Like my coping mechanism wasn't to argue with someone that I felt was pulling away. It was kind of like, if God is moving you from my life, then there is a reason why God is removing you from my life. And I'm not going to fight with whatever God sees that I don't see. And so many times that my choice in maneuvering in that way saved me in a way that like protected not just my reputation, but my sanity. I don't take well to people that hurt me or are disloyal to me because I'm a very loyal friend. So it's like if God moved you and we didn't have an argument, we didn't have a discussion, we didn't, nothing happened, we kind of just fell off. God moved you out of my life in that season for a reason. Now we could always reconnect in another season, and I'm totally okay with that. But there are certain instances with specific people where things came up that had happened or that they said or that they did that was like the confirmation for me, like, wow, God, like you really moved this person and protected me from that malice intention because I didn't even see any of that was happening. So when you're loud budgeting, it may feel like you're pulling away and people may perceive it as such. But in order to ignore those things, you just go. Even when you cannot, you contribute. Even when it sets you back, you keep up. Even when keeping up is costing you more money over time. And the quiet resentment starts to build over that person, right? Because then if that person was to betray, you're like, oh, but I did X, Y, and Z for you, and you don't even know. Like I went to extra lengths, so why aren't you willing to go extra lengths? But that person didn't even know you were going through extra lengths just to appease the person. You know what I'm saying? But now you're making it that person's priority to kind of pay you back in loyalty. So that quiet resentment can build with the people you love, but also with yourself for not being able to say the thing that you needed to say, right? Like you may create resentment towards this person because you didn't find the voice to actually stick up for yourself or to communicate with this person so that they can understand where you're coming from. And that is a specific weight that loud budgeting carries in our world. It's not just about saying a number out loud. It's about dismantling a whole set of beliefs about what your money says about you. And that is the real work that takes time. So let me talk about what staying quiet about your budget actually costs you, because there is a real price to the performance. And there is this obvious financial cost, right? The dinners you could not afford, the trips you charged, the rounds you bought, the gifts you stretched for, money that went toward maintaining an image instead of building toward a goal, right? Like you were a consumer. But there's also the cost that does not show up in your bank statement, the exhaustion of performing, that mental load, keeping track of which excuses you use with which people, showing up to things stressed because you know what this is going to cost you over time, and saying yes and then going home and feeling the anxiety of what you just agreed to. Like, oh my gosh, I have until August to pay this down. If not, people are going to start to notice. And then there is the relationship cost, right? People are going to start to notice. And when you're not honest about your financial reality with the people in your life, you're not fully present with them either. You're managing, you're performing, you're calculating, and the connection that is supposed to be there gets filtered through all of that. So real relationships can't handle the truth. What they cannot always survive is years of half truths and resentment and someone who is showing up but not really there. So the quiet is not protecting your relationships. In a lot of cases, it is solely hollowing them out. So you think you're doing a service because, I want to avoid the conversation. I don't want to hurt this person. But really, it can cost you a lot more over time, and not just money, but also in relationships. I want to be real with you about something. I have been on both sides of this, and I have said no to things because of money and sat with the guilt after, wondering if people noticed, wondering if they thought less of me, wondering if the relationship was going to be different because I was not there. I have also gone along with things I could not afford because saying no felt worse than the financial hit themselves, or especially in college. You don't want to be the one left out. You're experiencing FOMO in that moment, right? So you're going to swipe the card and then think about it later. And then you go home and then I felt the sting of knowing I just set myself back for something I did not even really want to do. Like at that time I was paying rent and living on my own my junior year. And a lot of my years through college, I was financially supporting myself and making sure that I can not just eat, but I could also have fun and I can also provide for my books and things of that nature. So I can say that both of those feelings felt bad, but one of them was more temporary. And I think that's where I got so comfortable with saying no and being comfortable with asking the questions that need to be asked before I show up anywhere and get blindsided. So the guilt from saying no fades eventually over time, and the financial consequence of saying yes when you should have said no compounds over time, because you got to sit there and continue to dig yourself out. Instead of digging yourself out, you're digging yourself more inside of that hole. And once I understood that clearly, the decision got a lot easier for me. Not easy, but easier, because I started to see that saying no to the thing that did not fit my budget was actually saying yes to something bigger, and yes to the goal, and yes to the plan, and yes to the version of my life I was trying to build for myself that I didn't even comprehend. But most importantly, those people weren't going to comprehend or understand. So that reframe changed everything for me. But before we go further, I want to clear something up. Loud budgeting is not about being cheap. It is not about refusing to ever spend money on the people you love. Like, I spend a significant amount of money on the people that I love because I'm so grateful for what they have been able to do for me and support me throughout these seasons, specifically with my son, that I want to show them some form of appreciation. And sometimes that requires a monetary backing or monetary value to be able to make that happen. But I'm so for making that happen because I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel appreciated. And I want to show them some value and some love. So it's not about making every social interaction a financial negotiation either. Like, I'm not trying to negotiate someone's value or whether we're going to go. It's either I'm going to go or I'm not. And it is definitely not about broadcasting your bank balance to everyone in the room, because I'm not telling everybody what's in my bank account. I could say no and I'm actually up. Right. But like, those dollars within my bank account are assigned to something different that is not this party or this event or this thing. So loud budgeting is about honesty, specifically the honesty of saying this does not work for me right now without having to perform or pretend. Like, my new excuse right now, and it's not an excuse, it's a fact, is I want to purchase a house. So somebody asks me for something, I'm like, if that's not getting me closer to purchasing a house, like, I'm going to have to sit this one out. And there's a difference between being loud about your budget and being loud about your finances. You do not owe anyone a detailed breakdown of your income, your debt, your savings, or your goals, even if somebody's pocket watching. What loud budgeting gives you permission to do is to simply say no without a fake excuse. Like, no is no. And to opt out of things that do not fit without manufacturing a reason that feels more acceptable. That's it. No performance, no shame, no elaborate story. Just, that does not work for me right now. And if someone in your life cannot respect that, that is information too. And that is showing you who that person is in the core, about the relationship, about the dynamics, about what that person actually values in you. Like, a lot of my friendships at one point in time were all about going out, right? Like, I didn't actually establish a relationship with this person, or with these set of people, but we were always outside together. So those were my outside friends, right? I've always been very intentional about categorizing my friendships. And that's the part that makes people feel very uncomfortable because I'm not going to judge you for who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm your friend, I'm accepting you for who you are and the version that you're presenting yourself to me as. And if I choose to deal with that, I choose to deal with that as your friend. I'm not going to judge you. I may, keep it real with you when you're asking me for advice or you're telling me about something, but that doesn't mean I look at you as less than. And that's the part that people got messed up. The way you present yourself to me is how I'm going to categorize you as. And in certain instances, I may not be able to take you around other people. And that's an important distinction to make, right? Because I can't bring everyone around everyone. I may accept you, I may love you, you may be my friend, but that don't mean you're gonna mesh well with this other friend. So I have to know who you are, and I can't just bring anybody and everybody together. Okay, so I want to give you something a little bit more practical because I know I'm speaking a lot in stories and experiences, because knowing that loud budgeting is a good idea and actually doing it in real time are two different things. And I respect that and I understand that. So especially when you're sitting in a group chat or at a table with people that you care about, there's emotions at play. So here's what it can actually sound like. Scenario one, the group dinner. Instead of I'm not feeling well that night, right? Oh, I'm not feeling well, I'm not going to go. You can try, I'm going to sit this one out. It is not in the budget right now, but let's plan something that I could actually do soon. Like maybe a walk in the park. Scenario two, the trip. So instead of I have too much going on at work, I can't take off. You could try, I love you and I cannot do this trip financially right now. Can we plan something that works for everyone's budget? Or I'll link you when you get back. Scenario three, the birthday dinner at the expensive restaurant. Instead of I might be late, save me a seat. You can try, I'm going to come for drinks and dessert. I cannot do the full dinner right now, but I want to be there to celebrate you. Scenario four, the family gathering where everyone is expected to contribute. Instead of course, I'll bring something, no problem. You can try, I can bring something small this time. I'm working with a tighter budget right now, but I want to show up for you. Notice what all of these things have in common. They're super honest. They're warm. They do not close the door on the relationship. They just redirect the situation towards something that actually works for yourself. And you're reaffirming that if you want me to come and support you the way that I want to come and support you, this is what I'm able to contribute at this time. Is that okay? And if that's not okay, then that person is not for you. You're not saying I do not want to be around you. You're reaffirming that you want to be around these people and you want to support these people. But you're saying I want to be around you in a way that does not cost me something that I cannot afford right now. I want to be around you, but I don't want to sacrifice what I'm working towards in order to appease your ego or show up for you or show that I love you. That is a loving thing to say, not a selfish one. And here's what I have seen happen when people start being honest about their budgets with the people in their lives. Some people are relieved because were doing the same calculation in their head and nobody wanted to be the first one to say it. When you say it first, you give everyone else permission to be honest too. And suddenly the dynamic shifts. The plans become more realistic, more inclusive, more sustainable for everyone. And people are more vocal about the things that they actually want to do. Because 9 times out of 10, people are just doing a bunch of shit that they don't even want to do because that's what everybody is doing. So some people don't even notice the story you told yourself about how people would react was bigger than the actual reaction, right? Like we create these stories in our heads about people and then turns out they were actually super, supportive about it. And you said you could not make it dinner. They said, okay, next time. That was it. Like for me, I am that one. Like, please don't give me a paragraph as to why you can't show up for me. You do not owe me not one explanation as to why you cannot be there. Like I will never hold that over your head as to why you cannot be at either my son's birthday or my birthday event or, whatever it is. I'm never going to be like, oh yeah, this person didn't come out for me. Like that's so petty. Like, oh my God, never. Because you don't know what that person is going through and you don't know if that person feels comfortable with even telling you in that moment. And most importantly, if someone was to unload their stress or their experience upon you, are you going to be able to hold that? No, I'm in my birthday era. You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe I'm in the chaos of planning my son's birthday. I'm not going to be in a space where I can actually retain what you're saying and be there for you in that. Some people will push back and they will not understand and they will take it personally and they will make it about something that it is not. Like I can tell you an experience. Someone gave me like a whole paragraph as to why they were not able to attend my birthday thing. And this was during COVID. So it was canceled anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like COVID had us all on lockdown. So that wasn't even my thought process. Like my mother's wedding got canceled during COVID. So there was a lot of things that were important that, were happening with people. So there was never a sense where I was going to judge this person for not showing up for me because it was impossible, specifically in that moment. But even taking COVID aside, even now, I'm still going to text you like, hey girl, what's up? Like, what are you doing? I'm going to still keep inviting you to the next thing because you never know where people are in the space. But to the point of like, people will push back and they will not understand, or they'll take it personally, or they'll make it about something it is not. In that instance with that specific friend, her not being able to show up for me about her stating that I wasn't there for her because of the reason as to why she could not show up to my birthday. And I was like, wait, what? Huh? And it became like this whole big thing that I didn't even necessarily understand, comprehend, or even know about. And of course, that is hard. I'm not going to pretend it's not, but here's what I want you to hold on to. A relationship that can only exist if you are financially performing for it is not as solid as you thought it was. Real friendship, real family, real community does not require you to go broke to prove that you belong. And if someone exits when you stop pretending, they are connected to the performance, not to you. They're connected to what you're perceiving yourself to be. And the relationship that survives your honesty are the ones worth investing in. And I mean that in every sense of the word. I want to spend a minute on the family version of this because loud budgeting with your friends is one thing, and loud budgeting with your family, especially in first-gen households, is a whole different conversation. In a lot of our families, money flows communally. You help when someone needs it, you show up, you contribute, you do not leave people to struggle if you have something to give. And that value is real, right? It's beautiful. It's one of the things that holds community like ours together. It can also become a financial trap if there are no boundaries around it, right? Because then you become giver bear. When you are the one who appears to have it together, the one who got the degree or the job or the promotion, the requests come. And until you establish boundaries, the requests will remain to flow through. And the expectation is that you say yes because you can, or at least you look like you can. That's what they call pocket watching. But looking like you can and actually being able to are not the same thing. And saying yes to every request because you feel guilty about building something for yourself is not generosity. It is self-abandonment. You cannot pour from an empty account. You cannot pour from an empty cup, literally or figuratively. Being honest with your family about your financial boundaries is not a betrayal of where you came from. It is what makes it possible for you to keep showing up for them long term. You cannot build generational wealth for your family while quietly sacrificing the foundation that makes it possible, especially if they keep making money mistakes themselves, hence why they have to keep coming back to you for assistance. At some point, the honesty has to come, and the earlier it does, the less it costs everyone, including yourself, because we have to start giving people accountability. And this is going to be a trigger word, but like a lot of mothers are financially supporting their adult sons and daughters. If you feel like you have to support your 30 or 40-year-old child, you did not set your child up for success to be able to sustain what they're trying to build over time or become an adult. So let me connect this to the bigger picture because I'm not even going to go down that road. Every time you spend money you did not plan to spend because you did not want to have an uncomfortable conversation, that money came from somewhere. It came from some bucket, such as your emergency fund, a savings goal, or your investment contribution, or your ability to pay something down this month. It went onto a card that is now carrying a balance. The social spend that felt small in the moment has a real impact on the financial goal that you are trying to reach. And this is where loud budgeting becomes a wealth building strategy and not just a social skill. When you stop performing financially in your relationships, you free up money to move with intention. You start saying yes to your goals instead of yes to everyone else's plan. You start making financial decisions from clarity instead of from guilt or pressure or the fear of what people will think. That shift is significant. Who gives a flying about what people think? Because the truth is, the people who build real financial stability are not the ones with the highest income. They are often the ones who are most intentional about where every single dollar goes. And that intentionality requires the ability to say no out loud, without apology, with warmth, but with clarity, right? We're not trying to be rude. We're not trying to impose our situations on other people. Loud budgeting is about your future. All right, rapid fire. I'm going to give you a scenario and the loud budgeting response. Ready? The scenario: your coworkers want to do a group lunch at a place that is not in your budget today. Loud budgeting response: I'm going to sit this one out, but have fun. I brought my lunch today. No explanation needed, no fake meeting, just a truth, short and easy. Another scenario: your friend group is planning a bachelorette trip and the budget is not something you could swing right now. This is big. A lot of people love talking about weddings in finance or just generally because of the weight and responsibility that comes along with either attending a wedding or being even a part of the wedding. A loud budgeting response, I'm not going to be able to do the trip, but I want to celebrate her. Can we plan something local that works for everyone? You are just being honest about the form it takes, right? Like, I can't do it away, but I can do it here. Your family expects you to contribute a certain amount to a gathering or an event, and it is more than you have right now. Your potential loud budgeting response could be, I can contribute this amount this time. I want to show up and I'm working with a tighter budget right now. You're not disappearing. You're not lacking responsibility. You're just being real about what you have to give. And that's all I have to give. Another scenario, your friend keeps suggesting expensive activities every time you hang out and you feel like you cannot keep up. A loud budgeting response, I love spending time with you. Can we do something that does not cost as much this time? I'm being intentional about my spending right now. Or you can even just respond with something that's naturally cheaper, like, yo, I don't really want to be doing X, but let's do Y. Are you down to do Y? And naturally, if that person is down to do it and that person just wants to hang out with you, then it'll just naturally shift to Y. A real friend will adjust. And if they do not, that is the information that you need in continuing that relationship. So here's what I want you to take away from today. Saying no to things that do not fit your budget is not a rejection of the people in your life. It is a commitment to the life that you are trying to build. In our communities, money silence has cost us a lot, not just financially in the exhaustion of performing and the relationships that could not hold the weight of so much pretending. Loud budgeting is a different way. It is not comfortable at first, especially when you have been quiet about money for a long time, but it gets easier. And what it builds over time in your finances and in your relationships is worth the discomfort of the first conversation. The people who are meant to be in your life will stay, and you will stop going broke trying to keep people who were only there for the performance to begin with. Say the thing, set the boundary, keep your money, and watch what your life starts to look like when you stop pretending. I am Lexi Victoria. This is Master Your Fin Life, and I will see you in the next one.